39 days away until race day. 39 days we have to wait until Formula One returns into our lives. It's been a big miss, guys. I'm pretty sure you guys will agree with this. Without Formula One, life is pretty slow, I would say. Life is pretty... There's nothing more worth in life than Formula One. I'm only kidding, of course. There is more things to life than Formula One, but it's still a big miss in our lives, nevertheless. But today we are back for another episode of F1 24/7 News Round. So today I'll be looking back at the week's news of Formula One, taking a few stories from articles I've seen throughout the course of the week, putting them into a video like this, reading out some key points perhaps, then giving my thoughts on about the article, and then move on to the next one. And as always, I'll be leaving links to the right article where I found these from, so you can go and read them yourselves, have a good advanced read about quotes and everything like that. And of course, it gives credit to to the people who wrote these articles, and of course we won't be taking any credit from anything that we have taken in from today's video. So the first one is Helmut Marko can't see Sebastian Vettel partnering Max Verstappen at Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel has a contract at Ferrari, but it currently runs out at the end of 2020. And there's been a big speculation about where the four-time world champion is going to be next season. Sebastian Vettel has been often seen in the Red Bull motorhome. He has close links to the Red Bull family still, of course, still keeps in contact with some of the guys who are still there from when he was there during this 6-7 year period at Red Bull. Helmut Marko thinks because of Max's new deal, financially it's impossible to have both drivers. Helmut Marko also mentioned that when Sebastian is in the right environment, he is still a quality driver. Now that's like hints of or links to Sebastian Vettel not being the right driver anymore. Is he this world champion fighter that we once knew back in the Red Bull days? He's gone a bit off form in recent years, but Helmut Marko believes that Vettel has still got it in him. What do I think of this? Do I think Sebastian Vettel will go back to Red Bull? Now, if you would ask me this before Verstappen signed his new contract, I would have said yes. Verstappen off to Mercedes and Vettel would have went back to Red Bull. But now, I don't know. There's still that possibility he might. However, it's only if the other driver, in this case Albon, doesn't deliver. Now, we all know what Red Bull and Helmut Marko are like when it comes to their young drivers. They're very strict on their policy. If they're not delivering the results, they can be demoted, kicked out, or whatever. We've seen that with a number of drivers recently. And to be fair, if Albon is another one of them victims, I really wouldn't be surprised. But let's say Albon is the next victim. Who do Red Bull go with? Do they go back to Gasly? Do they go back to Kvyat? I hope they do. But if they don't believe in those, who else are they going to go with? There's no one else in the ranks other than, well, yeah, to be fair, there is nobody that could fill that void. But to be fair, if I was in that situation, I would be thinking about it. Well, we've gone with youth for the past number of years. It's worked out with Vettel. It's worked out with Ricciardo. It's worked out with Verstappen. But it's not working out with anyone else. So let's go back on ourselves. Let's put in a driver there who has experience, who's coming to the end of his days, and have a seat warming, let's say, if you want to call it that, and wait until the right driver is ready for the next generation of Red Bull drivers to come through the ranks. Red Bull have had some really, really good drivers in recent years. Of course, Verstappen being one of them, Vettel being the other, Ricciardo, Jean-Eric Vergne, Carlos Sainz as well at McLaren. He could easily come back, but that's for another video. And I think if Sebastian Vettel was available, I think Red Bull would try and get him. Maybe Vettel could take a wage cut and go back to where it all began. And I think in a less pressured environment, because let's face it, the team is backing Verstappen no matter who's there. Even if Hamilton's there, in my opinion, I think they would still back Verstappen because Hamilton is coming to the end of his career. So what's the point in investing in something that's not going to be there for the next 5-6 years, let's say. And Verstappen's contracted till 2023. Yes, it's not a guarantee, but that's what he's down there until 2023, so may as well back him that you got him at least until that year. So Vettel will come in, partner Verstappen, team up with him, give him some advice, perhaps help the team forward, because that's where he started his career. He was part of the Red Bull Junior program, won his 4 world championships there, and I think it'll just be a nice way to kind of just relax and end his career rather than being at the pressure of Ferrari. But that's just my opinion anyway. But At this moment in time, I can't see Vettel going back to Red Bull at this moment because yes, I think maybe Vettel might have that fight in him that Verstappen and Vettel might clash. But if Albon doesn't improve or Albon doesn't develop, then I don't see why they can't go for Sebastian Vettel. But as ever, let me know your opinions about this in the comment section below. Next up is a driver you might have forgotten about, Sergei Sorokin. Remember him? He's saying this week that it is hard to accept his F1 dream is likely to be over forever.
Like forever?
As we all know, Sergei Sorokin was at Williams for 2018 alongside Lance Stroll, but got replaced by Robert Kubica for the 2019 season. At the time, he did speak of his disappointment and saying how it did hit him hard about losing the seat, despite Williams being at the back all the time. Because even in 2018, that car was abysmal, and we didn't think it would get any worse, but it did. It did. However, when SMP left Williams, so did Sorokin. They decided to drop him. Now, I remember there was like a bit of a kerfuffle about who's to blame about this. Apparently, SMP were unhappy with the development of Williams, about the direction they were going. Williams was saying that it's SMP's fault, that they weren't investing the money or anything. So it was a bit like, no, he did it type of thing, miss. And it was a bit weird as to how it all went. But since Sorokin has left, he's been a reserve driver for Renault and McLaren last season, and is a better driver than what everyone made him out to be. I did give him a bit of stick, but looking at his record, it wasn't that bad. He won the Formula Arbath European Series back in 2011, and then he came third in AutoGP in 2012, and then he moved up to GP2 for 2015 and 2016, and he finished third in both championships. And also in 2015, he was in a half-arsed car, you could say. It wasn't anything great. However, he finished third in that season, 2015, and there were some really good drivers on that grid in that season. And his teammates, he had two teammates that season, finished in 17th in 25th. And of course, if you remember all the way back in 2013, he signed as a Sauber test driver at the age of 17 years old. Now, yes, a lot of that was down to investment because Sauber at the time was struggling financially. They were looking for backers, they were looking for money. Sorokin came up with his millions, a lot, of course, with SMP. But if you remember, for 2014, he was promised a seat, but so was Sutil, so was Gutierrez, and so was Van der Gaard. It was a weird, what the hell was going on back then in 2014 for Sauber? They literally employed about 4 or 5 drivers. I believe there was another one in the mix. I don't know who it is, but off the top of my head, I remember those 4 just like, yeah, they were going to be in the seat, and then it just never happened, unfortunately. But Sorokin was tipped to be the next big thing for Russia. I remember his name creeping about back in 2013, 2014, and I couldn't pronounce his name to save my life. Of course, I can now, which is good. But I remember there was a lot of hype around him, which then just kind of died off about 2017, 2018 time. 2017 time. Then 2018 came in, and then everyone was like, well, here we go. We've got 2 paid drivers, fair enough, but let's see how both these lads get on in Sorokin and Stroll. And it didn't pay out for Sorokin at all. He only scored 1 point that season, whilst his teammate Lance Stroll scored 6. So really, it was more down to the car. The car wasn't brilliant, was it? It was terrible, that car, for the 2018 for Williams. And both drivers did get a lot of stick, especially Sorokin and Stroll, and he still does to this day. And yeah, in my opinion, I think he probably deserved to be in Formula 1. But the problem is now is if he wants to come back, who's he going to be with? In my opinion, the only team, slim chance, is Williams. And to be fair, I can't see him going back there because they've got some really talented drivers in the ranks, some better than others, you could say. And of course, Williams they fell out with Sorokin and his management and his sponsors, so I can't see them going back there. And to be fair, I can't see him going to Haas, I can't see him going to Alfa, Toro Rosso, or AlphaTauri now. I don't know. So, it is sad, but I do think Sorokin's career in F1 is over. However, he has got a bright future in other forms of motorsport. One in particular I'm thinking he might go for is Formula E. Drivers like Jean-Eric Vergne, Sebastian Buemi, and Lucas de Gracia, who've all failed in Formula 1 but have made success of themselves in Formula E. And I think Sorokin will follow the likes of Van Dorn, De Vries, who never set out to be in Formula One. Well, obviously Van Dorn was, but he never made the impact. And De Vries won F2 and went straight to Formula E. He didn't even give F1 a chance. And well, there was no seats, of course. But I think Sorokin might look at that. And of course, they did release their car, which I'll talk about later on in the episode. They did release their new car for next season, so maybe Sorokin might be interested in going into that series. He did compete in Le Mans for this season. He might go for endurance racing with SMP. Who knows what he might do? So it will be exciting to see how he does. But it is shameful that he isn't in Formula One, because I think he is better than some drivers on the grid today. But yeah, but for me, he's still got a big career ahead of him in single-seater racing, so let's see how he does in the future. Lando Norris is up next, and he's saying that he is more relaxed headed into the 2020 season. Lando Norris, of course, made his Formula One debut in 2019 with McLaren, and there was some questions and some doubts over Lando Norris as to whether he could deliver at the top level. Of course, Lando Norris, I think he finished second in Formula 2 in 2018. I mean, a brilliant season for F2 then. Russell, Norris and Albon all got promoted into Formula 1 for 2019 after that incredible 2018 F2 season. Norris says that he had nerves and insecurities on if he was good enough in Formula 1. He did finish P11 on 49 points, which was very, very impressive for your debut in F1. Speaking of McLaren, he has said that he's itching to get back into the car. Now, here's a big headline for you. I've read out some really big statements, but this one is probably the biggest one I might read all season. He's cutting down on his favourite cold drink. Is it water? Coca-Cola? No. Milk. He's saying he's drank too much milk throughout the past year. He wakes up, drinks milk, with dinner, drinks milk, before he goes to bed, drinks milk, and he's saying he's having none of it well, I say none of it, he's reducing the amount of milk he drinks, and of course he's going to be drinking more water, which he is not impressed about. Now, of course, there is that little meme going around of Lando Norris and milk and everything like that, so maybe that might die down a little bit, because it is getting a bit annoying, in my opinion. It was funny to begin with, but like a lot of memes in Formula One, there's only one or two I can think of that are funny still from like a few years ago, but everything else seems to be getting boring. So let's just leave it in 2019, shall we? 2020 is a brand new season. But no, I'm excited as to what Lando Norris can do. McLaren had a very impressive 2019 season after very, very difficult years behind them. Honda, Renault, well, I say Renault, 2018 Renault, 2018 season, it was just kind of a poor season in terms of development. And then, of course, 2019 came around, two brand new drivers, Spaniard driver Carlos Sainz, rookie driver Lando Norris. Solid job, in my opinion. Securing McLaren's fourth place, their biggest points total since 2014, and of course their first podium since Australia 2014. So the next one they've got to go for is the win. Come on, guys, you can do it. What do I think of Lando Norris? I think he is a quality driver. I'm not saying he's like the next big thing. I don't want to overhype him. However, he is, I would say, yes, I'll put him in that good kind of category. I wouldn't say overrated, but I wouldn't say underrated either. That's just my thoughts. You guys might think differently. You guys might think he's overrated. You guys might think he's underrated. But, you know, that's just your opinion. My opinion, he's good. I would say he's neither. He is good. I would say minimum top 10. If that car is as good as what people are making it out to be, I would say top 10 minimum for Lando Norris. Anything above 10th place, I would say actually anything above P11 would be a bonus for Lando Norris. Anything bigger than 49 points, anything bigger than P11 would be a bonus for him. Let's see how he does in 2020, and let's see if he can live up to his expectations, as a lot of people are comparing him to being the next British world champion or whatever. But of course, there's a lot of talent coming through the ranks. Albon, Russell, of course, Leclerc and Verstappen, who are already there. The future is very, very exciting for Formula One. And just to finish off, I've got two stories that I'm just going to merge into one. Just yesterday, actually, Jack Aitken, the former Renault test driver, and of course he drove for Campos Racing in F2 last season, has left his role as Renault F1 test driver and has went to Williams as their brand new reserve driver. Now, Jack Aitken had a solid season after winning 3 races for Campos and finished 5th in 2019 season. Of course, one of those wins being at the British Grand Prix, which we've seen, and we actually met him on the Sunday afterwards, which was just incredible to be there, of course, and to meet Jack Aitken, a future star of racing, you could say, one step closer to being in Formula One, who will make his Grand Prix debut in a couple of FP1 sessions in 2020. Which ones? I don't know, but I'm hoping FP1 at Silverstone. That would be absolutely incredible. Jack Aitken, I rate him. I don't rate him highly, but I do like him as a guy. He seems to be like of course, he's very, very quick. I think he's double Formula Renault champion as well. I think he finished second in GP3 in 17, I believe. So he's got the talent, he's got the speed, definitely. And of course, being at a team like Williams, where they are at the moment, it's not. I mean, obviously, it's brilliant that he could be in Formula One soon, but he's got a couple of other drivers maybe ahead of him. Not in terms of talent. I would say he's probably one of the best drivers in that little kind of category. If you want to classes like Ticktum and Chadwick, he's probably better than some of them. However, most of them have more financial support. Jack Aitken doesn't have that much financial support, of course, enough to have him at Williams. But I think maybe one or two could beat him to the seat should one of the drivers leave, in the likes of Latifi or my favourite, George Russell, who is more than likely going to be leaving very soon to a higher team. Maybe someone else will be in before Jack. But if he impresses, I don't see why not. I don't see why Williams shouldn't give him the chance, because I really think they should. He is a quality driver, future world champion. I don't know, but certainly a driver that we're not going to be laughing at. So yeah, give him the chance. And also as well, I know this is the Formula One channel and stuff like that, but I know there are a couple of guys who like Formula E. Now, I think this is the first time I'm going to be covering Formula E news. This isn't going to be anything new or anything like that, but I just want to quickly mention about the brand new Gen 2 Evo car that FE have released for the 2020-2021 season. Are you ready, guys? Here it is. Wow. I've got to admit, I absolutely love this car. The old generation of Formula E cars were, I just didn't like them whatsoever. They just looked a bit bland, looked a bit, I don't know. Like Gen 1, Gen 2, I was like, well, like the original car, then of course transformed into like the circular front wing. And then Gen 2 came in for 2018, I think, and that was a brilliant looking car. I absolutely loved the look of that car. I was more interested in Formula E because of that, but I'm going to be even more interested now that they've moved on to this car. One thing I love is the shark fin. I don't know about you guys, this might be a very unpopular opinion, but I absolutely love shark fins on F1 cars and racing cars. When they are very pointy and bent like that, not like the straight, weird ones that the likes of Red Bull had and Mercedes had in 2017, but more like it looks like a Formula 2 car, doesn't it? A lot of people are comparing it to that. On the side shot, it looks like an electric Formula 2 car. So, and I love the look of the Formula 2 cars, and I love the look of this even more. And of course, let me know what you think of this car in the comment section below. And Formula E, Jordan, it will become an official world championship for the first time next season. So it will be crowning an official world champion for the first time in Formula E in that very car. Who it's going to be? Give me some early predictions. Maybe it is a bit too early, but what's your thoughts on the car? Leave it in the comment section below, and of course your opinions on anything I've mentioned. What are you thinking about Sorokin, about Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel? Sorry, going back to Red Bull, Lando Norris. What are you thinking of his 2020 season? And of course Jack Aitken becoming Williams' reserve driver. Are you happy about that? Are you a bit disappointed? Anybody else could be in that role? Let me know in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, go and check out our latest video. Of course, the F1 debate show returned with our 2020 predictions, and then catch us again for this Saturday as well for the F1 debate show. And then next week is launch week. Yes, guys, on the 11th of February, Ferrari will be launching their 2020 Challenger, and we will be covering all of the car launches, reviewing our decisions. What do we think of the cars, the look of the cars? Most of them aren't going to be the official 2020 cars, of course, but livery wise we'll get to see how they look, so can't wait for that. So stay tuned for that as well. If you're new around here, then please subscribe as well, like as well, and follow us on our social medias, on Facebook, on Twitter. Always active on Twitter. I do love Twitter, I've got to admit. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.